Hey friends, and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Week. This week was a little over the place. I did a little meal prepping, I spent a lot of time outside, and I found a couple of meals that I was just obsessed with and ate over and over again. If you're new here, my name is Immy. I talk about all things to do with sustainability, intentional living, lots of food and outdoor activities, and the odd video essay. So if any of that appeals to you, then don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, please give it a like, as it really helps to support my channel. Okay, grab a cup of tea and let's get into it. Good morning. I'm just having a sourdough bagel from the farmer's market yesterday. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything to put on it, so I'm just gonna eat it like this, but it is good. Today though, I'm gonna try making seitan, and I'm gonna try a different method where you actually make it from bread flour rather than just buying vital wheat gluten. I'm also going to do some meal prepping for tomorrow because I'm going to take you on a hike with me. I want to show you one of my favorite places to go. And also I'm preparing this seitan because I'm making a short or a reel on making kind of like chick fillet at home, and obviously a vegan version. So I'm really excited to try out that seitan, and yeah, I'm going to eat this and then get started with the whole process because it takes quite a while. Okay, now that we've mixed the dough and kneaded it for a good 5-10 minutes just to really build that gluten, I'm now going to leave it in a bowl of water for about 1 hour. Everything will soften up and a lot of that starch will start to come out, and then we do like a bunch of washes where we kind of massage the dough and really try to get all of that starch out. But we're not going to waste that starch. I've actually found some really cool recipes that you can make with the sort of excess starch water. So when we do that process, I'll retain that water, and yeah, I guess we'll make some really interesting recipes with that. But for now, I'm just going to leave this for an hour and then we'll start the multiple process of washing. I've never made seitan this way before, so I'm going to be really interested to see how it compares to making it with just store-bought vital wheat gluten. Maybe we'll do an experiment this week where I'll also make another version with just the vital wheat gluten, so it's much faster, and just see how it compares, because yeah, this is a long process. I mean, I love a complicated recipe, but you know, most people probably won't have time to make this, so this will be a good experiment. I always get hungry when I'm doing a little meal prep, so we're back on our little taste test for different yogurts, and this week I'm trying a silk peach mango, and I won't lie, I never have high hopes, but this one was actually so delicious. I think you can probably see the shock on my face because, again, my expectations are always low, but this was so good. I was very impressed, and I will definitely be getting this again. After an hour, I started to do all the washes. You do about 6 of these. You wash as much as you can for a few minutes, then you get rid of the water or you retain it for other things and keep washing until all of that starch is basically gone and you're mostly left with the protein. The texture will change very visibly, so you'll be able to see the difference and hopefully know when the water is just a bit cloudy instead of milky that it's pretty much ready. Then I stretched out the seitan and I cut it into a couple tubes whilst keeping the top connected, and then I started to plait it or braid it. Once I braided it, then I tied it in a knot, then another knot, and then tucked it under so it was a nice round ball. This is really important to get the texture right for the seitan. I brought the broth to a boil and then I put the seitan in and I let it cook for about an hour. Once it was ready, I let it cool completely and put it in a container, topped it with the broth and put it in the fridge overnight. This really helps with the texture and just to help those flavors really settle in. Good morning. It is very dark today. It's going to be thunderstorming all day, and unfortunately I was not able to go on my hike this morning because there was a landslide, meaning that the road was closed and not sure when it's going to open. So I thought instead I'm going to take a look at the seitan that I made yesterday and show you kind of what it's looking like. Today I'm also making a reel about making chick fillet at home. I think I mentioned that yesterday, so I'm gonna get started with that soon. I already had a bagel for breakfast this morning with nothing on it, just plain, because I was hungry and I needed to get something in. But yeah, let me show you how the seitan turned out. But I am going for a hike on Thursday and this weekend, so I'll be able to take you along and show you those beautiful hikes. So for the Chick-fil-A burger, I turned the seitan into steaks and then I basically battered them. Yeah, I breaded them with a wet and a dry batter, and then I fried them. So this is what it is looking like. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. Let me do a little cross section so you can see what it looks like inside. What's nice is that it came out of the marinade wet, so I could immediately put it into the dry rub. I let that absorb for about 10 minutes and then I went in with the wet batter, then the dry, and then I fried it. So this is what it kind of looks like. I'm really pleased with that. I still need to work on the flavour, getting the flavour to be, maybe I just put a little bit too much smoked paprika or something in there, but I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I'm really excited to see what else I can make with it. That burger was really filling, so I'm gonna go for a little walk and then I will see you at dinner. For dinner, I essentially had the same thing as the night before, the noodle salad, but I decided that I wanted to try the seitan in it, just to see if it would taste a little bit better in smaller shredded pieces and how it would take on additional flavors and sauces. So I mixed the sauce in the bowl and added the seitan, gave it a really good mix, and then added all the other things that I basically had the night before for the noodles. Good morning. All I want is a bowl of sweet granola with some soy milk and some raspberries. That's all I want, and maybe a nectarine as well. So I'm gonna put that together, and then I thought we could have just a little bit of a catch up. So a few things to update you on. I feel like I finally got my knitting spark back. I decided to try making some more summer focused kind of items, and that has definitely helped me to, I don't know, I think summer projects are so much faster, and I've just tried to explore different things that I haven't tried before. One of the projects I'm working on, I'm trying this new yarn by Sadness Garn called Line. I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, but it is a mix of cotton, viscose and linen. I found that 100% linen is quite stiff and it's also quite expensive. This was, I think this might have been $7 or $8 per one, and I'm using 4, maybe 5 for this project that I'm working on. I'm also working on another tee, which I will show you later in this video, some of the progress that's going on that. I'm loving the colour with that, so I'm very excited about it. I've also been spending a lot of time in the garden. I've been looking after all of my vegetables that are growing really nicely. I think a lot of them have been a lot more successful this year because I started them so much earlier. I mean, this basil is doing so well. Look at the size of some of these leaves. Like, I can't actually believe just how big they are. And I kind of wanted to give you this update because I haven't exactly been shy about how my mental health has been this year. I've definitely had a lot of challenges, and I think March and April were 2 of the hardest months for me so far. Now that the weather is getting better and we've been out hiking a lot more, and I even went for my first solo hike, actually went for two solo hikes, it just made me feel so much better about what I'm capable of and about myself, and just being a bit more independent, which felt really, really, really good. And doing these things like gardening, growing things, spending more time in the garden, going for solo hikes, getting my knitting spark back, these have definitely all really helped me to improve my mental health. And one thing, I really did need to take a little bit of a step back from work, but then that also kind of compounded with this feeling of feeling aimless and not really feeling like I have a purpose or a purpose. And I think when you don't feel like you have a purpose, it's really easy to just kind of sink lower into whatever spiral you are currently on. But I would say this last month has been the best month of the year for me. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a little update because so many of you have left such nice comments and have messaged me with concerns. So I just wanted to alleviate your worries and show you that I'm on the up. Basically what happened is I hit my lowest point and I realized that something really needed to change, and I did all of the things. So I went to see a dietitian to see if I could find a way to eat more healthily. I went to go to see my primary care provider and see if there was like a hormone imbalance or, you know, any of those kind of things. And I got all my screenings for stuff that you just need to do. And for the first time in my life, I also started therapy. And that is one of the things that has had one of the biggest impacts, because my therapist helped me to see things in a very different way and to kind of get out of my head a little bit and kind of give me a bit more perspective. I personally don't know anyone actually that hasn't been to have some kind of therapy, and I think because it can be just so transformative depending on what's happening in your life, whether you're having mental health challenges, whether you just want some career advice and kind of structure and mentorship, whether you're going through some huge changes, or you just need a little bit more help navigating certain situations, because not all of us grow up with the skills and ability to tackle very big stresses in our lives. And that's all therapy is. It's kind of giving you those tools to help you process things and move through things in a very positive and productive way. So I think all of those things together has really helped compound and taken me out of this kind of pit of despair and taken me on a much higher trajectory. If you've never been to therapy, I just want to take some time to talk about Grow Therapy, who are the paid partnership for this video. And the reason why I wanted to partner with Grow Therapy is because they specifically talk about wanting therapy to seem far more human than clinical. I know therapy can be really scary. I was really nervous the first time I went, and I told my sister that I was nervous to go, and she said, well, that can be the starting point. That can be the first conversation that you have, that you're just simply nervous to be there. And what's really great about Grow Therapy is that they're really trying to make therapy far more accessible and just easier to access, more affordable, and just made to fit real life. But Grow Therapy are a modern mental health platform, so they make it so much easier to find someone that really suits you and what your needs are. I think therapy should not be a luxury. It should be accessible to everyone, and there should be a way to make sure that you can find the person that really connects with you. Like, for example, I really wanted to make sure that my therapist was a woman. You might want to make sure that you culturally identify with the therapist that you have. And Grow Therapy makes it so much easier to find the right person for you, because if you don't gel with your therapist, then you're far less likely to actually open up and make progress, because you don't want to talk about the things, because you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so it's really important to take the time to find someone who is right for you. So Grow Therapy is an easy to use platform. They're covered by over 50 plus insurance companies, including Medicaid in select states. You get a choice between in-person or virtual sessions, and there's no commitment, there's no subscription service, and there are thousands of licensed, diverse providers. If you'd like to learn more about Grow Therapy, then you can check out the link in the description, or you could scan the QR code that's going to be on the screen now. Even though I just had granola, I think I'm ready to get started with some lunch as well. This is what happens when I leave breakfast to get too late, and then I'm just like doubly hungry. Good morning. I've just been tending to the garden and just kind of making sure that no plants had fallen over in the middle of the night, because we had a storm yesterday and we actually had some hail, not too much. Luckily none of the plants have any damage, but I just like to check on them to make sure they're okay, especially when I can't get out for a walk in the morning. I just like to be able to spend a little bit of time in the garden, a little bit of time outside before I make breakfast and sit down to do some work. So I just finished my porridge. Honestly, porridge is just something, even in the summer, I like having, because it's so easy and I don't even have to think about it. But today I'm going to meal prep some overnight oats for tomorrow, because we're getting up very early. We're going to be hiking our first 14,000 foot summit or peak of the year, which is very exciting. I also thought I would update you on the t-shirt that I'm making if you're interested. So I finished doing all the shaping on the back, and now I've moved on to the front, and I'm just doing the shaping of the front parts here. So this is what we're looking like. I'm really, really pleased with the colour. The colour is just turning out way nicer than I thought it was. This is the #1 tee from my favourite knitwear. I've just been working on it slowly when I have some time, mostly in the evenings, but I'm really, really loving it, and I can't wait. I just cannot wait to finish it so I can start wearing it every single day. I'm going to finish writing my video essay today. It's taking me a little bit longer because I just don't want it to be bad, but I'm also going to prepare a meal for tomorrow for when we get back from the hike. So I'm going to prepare some dumplings and maybe a curry to go over some fresh noodles. And I might try a curry that I've never tried before, like a Penang curry or a Massaman curry. I'm not quite sure, but I do need to pop out to H Mart and buy a few ingredients for that. I'm also really pleased with how the seitan turned out. I made 2 batches, so I actually have some more in the fridge. I might test it out today for a wrap for lunch and see how it kind of fries up, if it fries up nicely, which will be exciting. I definitely think seitan works better in smaller chunks. So if you want to have like a thinner chunk for if you make a burger, then I think it will definitely taste better in terms of the texture as well. But yeah, I'm gonna write my list and then head out to the shops. I feel like these defrosted to the perfect.
But it never works out.
I've made this dumpling recipe so many times at this point, and they truly become one of the best meal prep items that we can have when we just want something that just feels a little bit more like takeout, but it's also healthy, got all the stuff that you want, but you can choose to steam them or fry them. And we made probably about 100 of these and put them in the freezer so we could have some for dinner that night. And then we were able to have them when we got back from our hike the next day for dinner and the day after that as well. Hiking in Colorado is pretty wild. The parking lots get full by 5 a.m. So we ended up getting up very early and heading out to hike our first 14,000 foot mountain of the year. We both just really like physical challenges, but also being above tree line is stunning. So we hiked Mount Bierstadt, which is supposed to be one of the most straightforward 14ers. Of course, it's very difficult because you're high and you've got a lot of elevation, but it's one of the less technical routes. And honestly, it was absolutely stunning. On the way back from the hike, we ended up having a couple of boba bars. They're some of my favorite things to have on a hiking day because they just taste good. I really rarely get bored of them, and they're very easy. When we got home, I made some of the dumplings, which I didn't film because I was so tired and hungry. But then we also ended up making a Penang curry. I got a couple of vegan tins of Penang paste from HMart a couple of days ago, and then I just added in some extra things to boost some flavour, like some lime leaves, some extra garlic, and all the other normal things like veggies, tofu, and coconut milk. This was so good. I really rate these little tins, so I will definitely be making them again. For the next couple of days, we did some more hikes, but they were honestly really tough, so I found it hard to film them. And we had a lot of different things that were just convenient to eat when we got home. I had a few of Amy's Kitchen's vegan pizzas, which are actually really good. We made another Penang curry and just finished up some more of the dumplings when we couldn't be bothered to make anything else. I think I probably will try a few more of the different tins that they have of the pre-made paste at HMart, because it's one of those things where if you just want to make something that's mostly homemade but is also relatively easy, they just reduce the cooking time quite dramatically. I also don't usually eat ready-made pizzas very often, but I won't lie, having something you can just shove in the oven, honestly, it's the best thing ever. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I just wanted to thank Grow Therapy once more for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Remember to check them out in the description below if you are interested, and I will see you the next time. Okay, bye.